Hi buddies, hope you're doing fine. In this series, we are going to see the summary of the poem Kubla Khan written by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And the title of this poem also considered as a vision in a dream, also considered as a fragment. So now let's see the origin of this poem in a gist manner. In 1797, Coleridge, who was reading a book, the book was a travel book written by Percha. The title of the book is Pilgrimage. When he was reading that book, he soon fell asleep in his chair while reading a passage in Percha's Pilgrimage. The book, which is related about the ruler Kublai Khan, and he was the founder of Mongol dynasty in China, and he belongs to the century of 13, and his time period is 1216 to 1294. This was a reference which is noted by the Venetian traveler whose name is Marco Polo, and whose period is 1254 to 1324, that is 14th century, and he traveled from Italy to Peking, China, and lived in Kublai Khan's court for 20 years. While reading Percha's Pilgrimage, Kublai Khan, who had fallen asleep and saw a vision in his dream, also he disturbed by someone, and he lost his vision. After that, he noted everything for writing poetry. Also, he read a plenty of material relating to the famous travelers and voyages of the Middle Ages, like Marco Polo, Purchas, and also others. So his imagination and his knowledge to finish his poetry with a very good manner. So now see some stuffs about this poem Kublai Khan. Coleridge, who has changed Purchas Zambu to Xanadu in his Kublai Khan, and Coleridge, who used a fragment and perfect structure to finish this poem in a very good manner with a definite rhyme pattern. Now we'll see the introduction of the author Samuel Taylor Coleridge. If you are ready, let's get started. Samuel Taylor Coleridge, who was born on October 21st, 1772, was considered as a poet, literary critic, and philosopher, and who known as the founder of the Romantic movement in England. Also, he was a member of the Lake Poets, and his notable works are The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Kubla Khan, Christoffel, Conversation Poems, Biographia Literaria, and he was died on 25th July 1834. This poem Kublai Khan was published in the year 1797, and in every work of Samuel Taylor Coleridge we can see a lot of imagination stuffs and divine explanation with the superstitious element, and we can get a clear notion about the romantic poet. Now we'll see the summary of this poem Kublai Khan. First 11 lines. In Xanadu did Kublai Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alf the sacred river ran through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground with walls and towers were girdled round, and there were gardens bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree, and here were forests ancient as hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. Here Coleridge, who talks about the great oriental king whose name was Kublai Khan, and he once ordered a magnificent luxury palace to be built in Xanadu, which is a name of a place, and which is situated on the bank of the sacred river Alpha, and which is flow through deep and immeasurable caverns in the hill, and also it fell into a dark sea. The place Xanadu, which is surrounded by walls and towers up to 10 square miles. Through these verses which describe the palace and its surrounding gardens, and the palace which is particularly beautiful. Also it is a pleasure dome, and built by the banks of the river Alph. So the river Alph, which was a reference to the river Alph, is in Greek legend, and also which flows underground and then comes up as a fountain. Coleridge, who may also be referring to the other sacred rivers like the Nile in Egypt and a river in Kashmir, which open itself a passage through the mountains, and around the pleasure dome are twice 5, which means 10 miles of ground enclosed by walls and towers, and the grounds were full of streams and also sweet smelling trees and forests. So Coleridge used to narrate this poem in a very good manner, and also it will be attract to the readers. When we reach the line from 1 to 11, and we can see a lot of stuffs like beautiful gardens and winding streams, aromatic trees which are bearing sweet smelling flowers, and there were also forest as old as hills, and enclosed in their midst sunny spaces full of green spots, and a lot of images are also used in this poem. Next, but oh, that deep romantic chasm which slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover, a savage place as holy and enchanted as ever beneath a waning moon was haunted by woman wailing for her demon lover. And from this chasm with ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this earth in four thick pants were breathing, here we can see the remarkable thing of this place, like a deep mysterious chasm, and which ran down the slope of a green hill across the wood of cedar trees, and it was a wild and awe-inspiring place. Also it described as a holy and enchanted place. Then the author who portrays about a woman who is wailing and searching for her demon lover in the dim light of the waning moon. Also we can see the sacred river Alf, which flow in a zigzag manner for a full 5 miles, and Kubla Khan, who seemed to hear in the tumult of the river in an ancestral voice of foretelling him that war will be happening soon, and the shadow of the pleasure dome fell in the middle of the river, and a rare skill was employed in making this sunny luxury palace which had caves of ice. Also describe the fragments of rocks which produce the noise like the hailstone, or the grain spreading when separated from the chaff by a farmer's flail. Above mentioned few things are we can see the lines from as if this earth in fast thick pants were breathing, a mighty fountain momentarily was forced, amid whose swift half intermittent burst, huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail or chaffy grain beneath the thresher's flail, and amid these dancing dogs at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river, 5 miles meandering with a mazy motion through wood and dale. The sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult, Kubla heard from 4 ancestral voices prophesying war. So where we can find the above mentioned stuffs, and these things are make us to understand about a powerful spring of water, and it produced the sound like hailstone, also like a farmer trying to separate the grain from chaff. Then we can see the description of the sacred river Alf and its loud noise. Also Kubla Khan, who heard the voices of his ancestors prophesying future wars. So here we can see a lot of stuffs through these verses. Then the shadow of the dome of pleasure floated midway on the waves, where was heard the mingled measure from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice. Through these lines we can understand the strange invention of the pleasure dome, which built as a sunny, but it has caves of ice. Surely this can happen only in a dream or in the mind of a very imaginative person, Coleridge. And the description of the palace, which was built somewhere midway between a mighty spring and the caves measureless to man. Coleridge, who describes that the shadow of this pleasure dome which fell in the middle of the river, and a rare skill was employed in making this sunny luxury palace which had caves of ice. So here we can find an imaginative elements through these verses. Then a damsel with a dulcimer in a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcimer she played, singing of Mount Abora. Could I revive within me his symphony and song? To such a deep delight it would win me, that with music loud and long, I would build that dome in air. So here the poet saw an Abyssinian maid who is playing on her dulcimer and singing a sweet song about Mount Abora in his strange vision. The poet says that if he would recapture the sweet melody of the Abyssinian maid, it would fill him with such a divine inspiration that he would write a powerful poetry to give a vivid description of Kubla Khan's pleasure palace, and all those who heard him would be able to see the pleasure palace in the air. Then that sunny dome, those caves of ice, and all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, Beware, beware, his flashing eyes, his floating hair, weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dread, for he on honeydew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise. As I have already mentioned that Coleridge talks about the air palace which will visible to all the eyes. So Coleridge who keep on to say is that the people who would then think of the poet that is Coleridge as a mighty magician, they would see this floating hair and his flashing eyes, and would be filled with awe and fear. They would go around him thrice to protect themselves from his magical powers. His poetic frenzy would make them think that he was a superhuman being fed on the honeydew and the milk of paradise, and they would want one another to keep away from him. Here the author uses the poem with the first person narrative. Again the vision that the poet sees is strange and extraordinary, and he says a black girl playing a song of rare charm on her dulcimer, and the place Abyssinia, which was situated in Africa, and author who used the reference Mount Abora, which seems to be the poet's own invention, and could be a fusion of two references. Mount Amora is mentioned by John Milton, who is a poet. In his epic Paradise Lost, he used this reference Mount Abora, and also another writer Bruce in his book Travels to the Sources of the Nile, he also refers to two tributaries of the Nile called Abola and Albora that flow through Abyssinia. So it is obvious that Coleridge had a fascination for the East and for countries that seem strange and exciting to him. Also Coleridge, who becomes a creature of magic, and he has fed on magic juice, honeydew, and this reference also we can see the poem La Belle Damsel's Mercy, line number 26, written by Keats. So that's all for the summary of this poem Kubla Khan, written by Samuel Coleridge. Now we'll see some stuffs about this poem Kubla Khan. Okay, the poem Kubla Khan is a dream fragment. The origin of the poem is given by Coleridge himself. In 1797, he fell asleep in his chair while reading a passage in Purchas Pilgrimage, which was relating to the King Kubla Khan and the palace that he commanded to be built. So, when he was reading that book, he drank opium and soon fell asleep, and also in his dream he got a vision, and then he was disturbed by someone, and he lost his vision. So the very next moment he was awakening and began to write the poem hastily, and unfortunately he could complete only 54 lines because the dream and the vision is a big one, but he just finished his poem only 54 lines. He used to write this poem with his knowledge and also filled with more imagination, as well as many voyages and travelers in Middle Ages like Marco Polo, Purchas, and also others. Their writings are highly helpful to finish this poem by Coleridge. In this poem, Coleridge has fused the natural with the supernatural, and he used the descriptive or pictorial quality in his poem, and this poem constructed with vivid and sensuous manner. When we analyze the symbolism in this poem, so in this poem the sacred river is a symbol of life, and he used the romantic element in this poem, like a delightful blend of imagination, emotion, mystery, sensuousness, romantic description, sweet melody, and executive diction. So all these qualities make it a richly romantic poem. And many critics who has been praised for this poetic fragment in this poem, Kubla Khan, written by Coleridge. And the picture of the divinely inspired poet in the closing lines is also highly romantic. It's a purely romantic conception of the poetic imagination. And in this poem, Kubla Khan, which is like a true romantic poem, and also it is a product of pure fancy, also a work of sheer imagination, and is therefore a wholly romantic composition. So hope this video will be useful one, and thank you so much for watching this video till end. If you are having any suggestion, let me know in the comment section. We'll see you next video. Tata, bye bye.